So today's the day a lot of you guys have been waiting for. I'm going to reveal my dyno results on my 124 Spider Abarth. This is on 93 octane pump gas. It's running full bolt-ons. In the description below, I'll kind of have a list, maybe even linking to my site, all the parts, because we do sell a lot of those parts on drivendistrict.com. It's running a Eurocompulsion Phase 3 tune, big injector tune, with their larger 1446 plus turbo. One thing I gotta go over first is their own dyno results on their website. A lot of people like to say that companies overshoot or claim higher than normal. And I will agree with that. Most of the time, I have seen that. Not just with Eurocompulsion, I believe maybe their phase 1s and 2s, some folks maybe don't hit it. But what you guys got to also understand is different dynos are going to read differently, different environments are going to read differently, different cars and different mods are all going to read differently. But I'm happy to say that my results, I was genuinely surprised with. And there's one thing that's very important that actually makes the graph even better than the Eurocompulsion graph, which it's rare for someone to dyno it themselves and see better than a company's claims. Let me explain. If you see here, this green one, which they have, I think on the left here, it would have told you, but I already deleted it. The blue is stock, and then there's phase 1, phase 2. Anyway, we're just gonna focus on phase 3. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go over this just to make it easier visually for you guys to see. So give me a second. Okay, so what I just did to make it easier, I could literally turn this on and off. I just did this because I want to pay attention and focus on the phase 3 numbers, which is what this green line is. So just to make it pop a little bit easier for you guys to visually see, I just kind of traced it. So what we're going to notice is they say it makes, and again, I cut that part off. Maybe I'll put a screenshot somewhere over here. It was like 240, off the top of my head, what was it? I think it was 249 torque, if I recall correctly, which is this peak right here, and 223.5 wheel horsepower, which is this peak right here. Now, what I want to really pay attention to, I'm going to make another little line. Let's pick like an, let's do like a yellow orange. I'm gonna just quickly draw a line straight across. So if we look over here, it peaks at that 249 for a split second. And this is why I say when people say peak numbers, don't focus too much on the peak, but look at the curve. Because yes, you peak 249 for a split second, and then it's drop, and then horsepower takes over, and you make a healthy 223. But then at what? This is 6,000. This is 6,000 RPM. This line right here. This line right here, where I just put this blue line, that's 6,000 RPM right there. Look at that drop off. From 6,000, it goes from between 214 to 227. So that's, I don't know, about 220, give or take maybe. And then to 200. 202 is that line. It basically goes from 2, give or take 220 to something, to 200, from 6,000 to their red line of what looks like to be about 6,700 RPM. Let me just clean this up a bit. So there's still a large fall off, and that's why in a previous video I said that I'm testing out some other turbos, because when I saw this, I'm like, I don't want that fall off. Little did I know, this fall off has a lot to do with the injectors. Once we went to the bigger injectors, and Eurocompulsion is always dialing in their tunes. I've worked with them very closely. I'm not saying this to brag. Most of the folks in the community know this. I have probably over 100 data logs with them because I want to extract more power, and I'm also helping them and the community to get some more powerful tunes that are safe. My car has been abused more than probably right below Eurocompulsion's own in-house car. And now my dyno graph, which I'm about to show you, does not have this fall off. And I can't say for certain, I'm not the tuner, but from the changes that I've seen, it has a lot to do with the big injectors, running the proper boost, timing, just making things work in harmony to make it pull extremely hard in as much of a linear fashion that you can when it comes to these type of engines. It's still a small 1.4 liter. The turbo is still a stock frame turbo, but I'm about to show you, so let me turn this off, and I'm going to pop up on the left side my graph. We're going to go over my results, and most importantly, I want you to see the curve. Notice how the torque drops off hard, and then horsepower kind of picks up, and then still drops off near red line to barely above 200. Ready? Let me find mine, and I will turn it on. All right, there we go. This is mine. All right, let's put that line back on. I had a green one. I had another color one. I don't know where it went. There we go. So what did I do? I did 218 wheel horsepower and 241 wheel torque. Now on the first dyno pull, when he was still dialing things in, we actually got 219.6 and change. So technically, yes, the car put down, because you round up from 0.6, 220 wheel horsepower, which is insane. That's an amazing and healthy amount. This particular graph that I'm using for reference, though, since we have the torque and horsepower figures here properly laid out on a graph, is 218 and 241. You're gonna notice, let's move this line right here, it peaks at 241. And check out the peak, by the way. I'm hitting full boost and peak torque at 3,300 RPM. 334. That is very quick. I think he started, this is in fourth gear, just for complete reference. This is in fourth gear. I'm not sure what Eurocompulsion did with theirs. They might have hit the gas a little bit later, but they're showing peak at after 35. I don't know what it is. It could be maybe they didn't have the ported and polished manifold. That could possibly help with spool. I don't know. But you can't deny the facts. On mine, I'm hitting full boost very, very low. And we're hitting 241 at 3,300. And then at 4,000, we're almost back to 240. After that, almost back to 240. Like, it's very linear. It doesn't have this huge drop off. This is 4,500. From 35 to 45 downhill. For me, from 35 to 45, look at that, barely downhill. Let's keep going. We go down, we're still above 200 torque and horsepower across every single band, and then the horsepower takes over. And look how linear this top end is. It's flat. Do I wish horsepower climbed? Of course I do. But we're still working, like I said, with a factory-sized turbo, internally reworked. There's only so much we could do. Hopefully, on a further testing that I do, we could find something better that pulls up top. But if you want a turbo that spools up close to stock, because this looks like stock to me, and holds power up top, which I'm going to compare to a stock turbo in a second. I'm going to remove this and show you what my 500 did. You're going to see the difference. It peaks at 218, almost 220, 218. And that's at 55. And then 6, it's still there. And then 65, 67. This is the 210 mark. This is 200. That's the 210 mark. It does not go below 210 up until 6,700. It is still 210 wheel horsepower. You guys might not be as excited as me, but I am super freaking excited because I was afraid this was going to drop off. I saw EC's graph. You know, I'm thinking this is the tuner themselves doing it. A lot of folks dyno it themselves. They don't see the same results. Well, they're claiming high 240s torque. I got low 240s. They're claiming mid 220s horsepower. I got about 220. I could not be happier, especially since that top end is holding to Redline and beyond, because stock Redline is 65. I think I'm tuned into about 68. It looks like it's dropping off around 67 over here, maybe 67, 68, but we're still holding over 210. That to me is amazing. Let's quickly, on the right hand side, we're going to remove this graph and pull up my 500. Well, we could remove all of these real quick. All right. This was my 500. Why is this red? You can go watch that video. I don't want this to be super long. I'll link it in the corner if I haven't already. If I did, there'll be a link in the description. This is a little confusing. The main reason, you see on the left here, this is horsepower, on the right is torque. He's got 180 here, and we got like between 220 to 240. He unfortunately did not line up horsepower and torque on the same on the left and right, which they should be. So I had to move the horsepower down to match, and we're only going to be using, let me think, the torque side. So with that said, I want to make things very clear for us. We're just going to block off this. We are not using that because they are different numbers. We're going to use the right side, which is torque, and that's going to be both torque and horsepower, hence why the move of this red line. Again, if you don't understand, go watch my other video. This car, don't mind, it looks like they're both peaking the same. The graph is reading different. For example, this is reading 220, and this is reading let's see, 10, 20, 30, 4, almost 240. So, we peaked 221 torque on the 500 Abarth with a stock turbo. We peaked 241. So we had 20 more peak torque. More impressively is, as we already went over, if you see from here to here, look how flat this is. It doesn't actually start dropping off until a little bit before 4,500. This one drops off the second it peaks. It's literally like, oh, 221, and down, 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 down. Here, we are 241, okay, 241, 240, 235, 235, 240, 240, okay, now we're going down to like 220 or whatever that is. That looks nice. The torque here, you're 221, down, 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 down. It feels great when you're driving it, I'm not gonna lie. It's not like you technically feel this falling, but when you put a 1446 plus turbo, a bigger stuff turbo, you feel, it's a night and day difference. You really feel it, especially up top. And talking about up top, the 500 on a stock turbo, if I didn't say, yeah, this is what a Eurocompulsion Phase 2 tune and a bunch of bolt-ons. Again, other video will go more in depth. We peaked 176 wheel horsepower, which is give or take around here. Like that's the 180 mark. I redrew it. So it's like right around here, 176. But then what happens after what? 200 RPM, 300 RPM? Down, 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 down. At this point, we are at like 150. I will say, I don't know why or how. Some reason the engine decided to pick back up at the end and go back up to what, 155, give or take. But from 6,200 to 6,500, where it does go back down, we're probably in the in the 150s. 150s versus on the left side here, 210. 210. That is a 60 wheel horsepower gain. Am I doing that math right? I'm literally talking. This was not planned out. If we are all the way here, yeah, 150 to 210. 60 wheel horsepower gain. Not only is it 60, but look how much more linear and flat this is on the 124. It holds the power. It peaks at 220. It holds 220. It drops a hair, and then at most it goes to 210. That's within 10 horsepower. Where here it's 176, goes down to almost into the 145s, give or take, and then something weird happens. I don't know. Shoots up just a little bit. But it's not as linear. It's not as flat, I should say. And the difference here is just to show you the power of there's different words for a stuffed turbo, a hybrid turbo, this turbo, that turbo. In this example, it is the Eurocompulsion 1446 Plus turbo. If you're interested in buying this turbo, consider buying it through drivendistrict.com. You can go straight to Eurocompulsion by all means. I'm not going to force you. I can. It's all up to you. But I've had a lot of people, a lot of people know that I bring this to you guys. I share value with you guys. I work very closely with Eurocompulsion to help dial in their tunes for you guys, the community. Of course, my car is getting quicker, but it's also getting the most abuse. It's so you guys can have faster and safer tunes from Eurocompulsion. But I do get a lot of folks who buy them straight from Eurocompulsion, and then they know I sell them because then they come to me for like support, and I help them completely free. I still help them, but it's like if you're going to buy it and you want to support me, consider buying through Driven District. It doesn't cost you anything more, and it helps me keep doing this, keep creating content for you guys, and hopefully allow me to keep pushing the platform and bring you guys more stuff. So this video, again, just in the comments where there is going to be a winner in another video, there's actually 3 winners who won. There should have been 1 or 2, but there's 3, and the video is going to launch soon. I recorded it before these, obviously, because once these are shared, you can't guess anymore. I had another video where you guessed the peak horsepower for the 500 and 124. We got 3 winners. That's going to come out soon. And yeah, I forget what I was even talking about, but the 1446 Plus Turbo with the big injectors, properly tuned, is an amazing turbo with great spool. I have more turbos that I'm going to be testing, and I've been emailing Toby. My goal is to bring you guys other turbo options that I will be testing myself, bring you guys data, and hopefully have Eurocompulsion help me tune them, so we can bring you a Eurocompulsion tune, so you have the service and the quality of Eurocompulsion, and a turbo that I'm bringing to the table, doing a bunch of testing that I'll be sharing everything with you guys. Hopefully that can happen, but as of right now, I still think the 1446 Plus Turbo is an amazing turbo. I don't have my results yet on mine, but like I said, look at this spool. The spool is insane. This spool is better than stock. It's crazy. For reference, again, this was done in 3rd gear on the 500. It's a 5-speed, and 4th gear on the 124. That's a 6-speed. Someone said the 500 should have been done in 4th gear. It might have made more power. I don't know about that, and it is what it is. If you guys want to drop a comment, by all means do that. The other thing is the dip around 5,000 here, and you know, there's a little dip over here too. I'm going to have other videos. I might cut this part done as far as me sharing the graph, explaining the graph, showing you guys stuff, and then I'll have other parts that you can literally see. I had a GoPro in the car, and you can see some hesitation between 5 to 55. So honestly, I almost think this graph would have looked even more flat without this weird dip. This one, I don't know. This is more aggressive. I don't know what's going on here, and I don't know how it gained some power up top like this. It's weird. This one, it's just much more flat, much more linear, both everything here. There was some boost dump going on. Maybe that's what these uneven, you know, it's not as smooth. It might have been the boost dump. I don't know. There's going to be plenty of videos that you guys are going to see of the car on the dyno, from outside, from inside, and I have some data logs to kind of go over too. So let's jump into everything else at this point. Alright, so now we're going to look at the GoPro that I kept in the car so we can kind of just look back on it. I did data log. I might share some of that in this video as well, but this can get very long at this point. I like seeing the boost, how it holds to Redline, how it comes on. So this is the 3rd gear pull. When I showed you the graphs, I said you could almost see a hesitation happen between 5 to 5,500, like right around that 5 to 6,000 RPM mark. It did seem more noticeable in the 3rd gear pull, and that graph I showed you was 4th gear. But just to show you, I'm going to first show you the 3rd gear pull. You're going to probably, I think, hear like one boost dump, and that's it. Then you're going to notice that hesitation. So ready? Let's watch that. Alright, let's zoom in real quick and just look at it, because it's very, very noticeable. But zoomed in, you'll probably see it even more. Ready? So there you go. It's almost like 5250, like right in between 5,000 and 5,500. It just pauses for a bit and then picks right back up to Redline. You're going to also notice a bunch of lights on the dash. I know there was theories years ago, I believe this is before my time in the Fiat Abarth community, that there were some theories that the 124 does not like being on a 2-wheel drive dyno, where the rear wheels are only spinning, the front or not. There is some acknowledgement to that. Like, as you can see, I have a ton of lights that are on because the car does not like, it knows something is not proper, that it's not moving, you know, the rear wheels are driving, but the front are not rolling at all. I don't know if it's actually going to interrupt the power delivery. My graph looked pretty good, as you can see. Like, yes, there was some hesitation here and there, but other than that, it looked like it made power up top. throughout the rev range, I should say, and everything did look good. But the car definitely does not like being on just a two-wheel drive dyno. If it's going to skew results, I don't think it's going to skew the results. But initially, years ago, when I was on a stock turbo on phase 2, it was a Mustang dyno, and we did put it in four-wheel drive mode and rolled all the wheels, whatever the terminology is. They rolled the front wheels, rear wheels, everything. And I don't recall having all these lights. So it definitely knows something's up. Again, I don't think it hindered anything. Let's take a look at the fourth gear pull real quick. That one you are going to hear a lot more boost dump. Again, he floors it below 3,000 RPM. That's how we were able to hit peak boost by 30-some hundred. In like daily driving, you are not going to do this. I would never do this. You should never do this. Why in the world would you ever floor your manual car in fourth gear at like 2,700 RPM? That's just dumb. You're putting so much extra strain. There's no need to. You just downshift. But for the purpose of dynoing and data and testing, that's what we did. So you're going to notice a lot of boost dump, and the boost is going to kick in pretty damn low and pretty hard, and then it's going to taper up top, no more boost dump, and it holds a pretty damn healthy amount. Even here, as you can see where I have it paused, it's 23, 20, I don't know what section I have it paused at, but it held like 22 to 23, between 22 to 24 above Redline, factory Redline, like around 6,500 give or take. So let's go to that fourth gear pull.
Opens the exhaust.
So as you can see, after 4,500, it kind of stopped boost dumping. So we're going to watch this one more time so we could see when like the boost peaks, kicks in, how it holds, and then I would imagine after 4,500 is when it starts to taper down just a little bit. All right, I take that back. It's almost at 27 pounds at 5,000 RPM. Almost just about 5,000. You got to remember the camera's in the middle, so the RPM needle is actually more to the right than what you're seeing because the camera's to the right and it's making the needle look more to the left. We're on an angle here. So we are just about 5,000 RPM hitting 27 pounds of boost still. Still almost just about 27 pounds of boost by 5,500. By 6,000, we're about 25, 24.8 it looks like. Yeah, 24. 23. High 23s. This is really nice the way it's holding it. It will make... What is it making? Let's see. I'm sorry, I keep going back, but this is... I'm excited. This is what I love to look at. Yeah, we're making peak boost below 3,500. And it'll hold from below 3,500 to almost 6,000. Where it starts to go down to 24 to 23. And then maybe 22. But that's where timing comes into play. Although the boost goes down a little bit, the graph does not drop down tremendously. They have dialed in, not only with the big injectors, it's not only adding the boost and the fuel, but playing with the timing to find a safe, happy, like I said, where everything kind of works in harmony to make the most power through an extremely large RPM band, because this is still a 1.4 liter, so it needs to spool up the turbo and then keep the power up top, which is usually not easy to do on a small engine and a small turbo, but this has accomplished that. I'm excited to see what we're going to get results with an even bigger drop in. Me personally, I do not mind some down low loss. I'm never going to floor it below 3,000 RPM, even 3,000, 3,500. No need. I'm going to downshift. So I don't mind. But there are some folks out there who might want more power, but want to keep that low end grunt and torque for just daily driving, city driving, whatever. And maybe they don't want something bigger. They rather have that low end grunt and not worry about making even more power up top. This might be just enough for them. But that's why I'm here to test, and hopefully at the end we're going to have stock turbo results, 1446 plus turbo results, a turbo that is slightly bigger than that, and a turbo that is bigger than that one as well, again, all being drop-in variants. So this is just the in-camera GoPro look showing the boost. If you're interested in the P3 boost gauge, I freaking love it. It's one of my favorite modifications. It is on our site. If you actually, this video will probably go live during Black Friday sale. We are doing 15% off P3 gauges, 15% off Ragazzon exhaust. There's a lot of stuff. You just go to drivendistrict.com and right on the front page, if the sale is still going on, you will see it. I highly suggest to pick up any sort of boost gauge if you're looking to modify your car. Me personally, I love P3 gauges. It's not just because I sold them. I've ran them on cars from over 10 years ago that I've had boosted. I love them. And on the 124, just on all their cars, just in case you don't know, the way it works is it goes into your factory air vent, but it does not, I repeat, it does not block your air from coming through there. You want to use heat, you want to use AC, it still comes through. You can't point it left or right, up, down or anything, but it still comes through. It literally hits you in the perfect spot, like right on that shoulder, arm area. It's perfect, and you have full functionality of that, and you have the ability to not only read boost, but it's a multi-function gauge, hooks up to your OBD2 port. You could do exhaust gas temperature, intake air temperature, coolant, so many other things. It's got shift light built into it. There are so many different things that the P3 gauge can do. It's got performance metering, even though I don't use that too much. I rather do like a draggy or something for that one, but there's a lot of neat features for it. So if you're interested, definitely check it out on drivendistrict.com. So all in all, again, I'm like a broken record, but I was extremely excited with the results. Hitting about 220 wheel horsepower and 240 wheel torque is awesome. Now, my goal is to test out some larger turbos and try and bring the horsepower up to 240. Ideally, I want to hit 250 wheel horsepower on pump gas. That would be pretty crazy, but I would even be happy with 240 as long as it holds to Redline, because here we're dropping at 210. So if we can gain another 30 wheel horsepower at Redline, 20 to 30 in the mid-range, 30 up top, who knows? Again, stretch goal 250. I think it's going to have more in that, but we're on pump gas. Don't forget, we're not on E85 yet. So with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to subscribe for future videos. Check out drivendistrict.com. Great way to support the channel. Performance products, merch, all different stuff. Holidays are coming. We have a huge holiday gift guide section with custom products, blankets with pictures of cars, your own picture that you can send in on a canvas wall art, on a blanket. We can cartoonize it, make it look really cool for you guys. We still have 300 products available, tons of stuff. Be sure to check it out, subscribe for more, and I will catch you guys in the next video.